Another tough day at work today. Stephen Kirk, think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show. But it's still where we want to go. It's Mike and the Minifans. 'Cause nobody had any better plans. You want to be with DC and our aim in a hand. The host can't see, it's Mike and the Minifans.
All right, we are live, Mike and the Minifans, another Friday night Valentine's Day edition. We got quite the panel here. Let's say hello to our, I guess, first time appearance here from our guy Brando. How you doing over there?
Oh yeah, I'm the new version. Yeah.
It's your first time on Mike and the Minifans, right?
No, third. I was on Fax. I was on
Well,
Fax's
the new
solo
edition.
Minifans.
Hello to Brando. Jeff Lowe, how are you?
Good. How are you, Mick? Good to see you again.
Thanks for last minute stepping in. We'll talk about the Dave Cullinan disaster. We'll get into that momentarily. Menners, how are you? Known show hater.
I am ready for 70 minutes of Kane chat. Let's get into it.
How about that? That was something. Let's just start there. Let's start with Cullinan's disappearance. Why we had to get rid of him tonight. Did you guys feel it was fair? His comments on the main show, obviously, saying that, I was setting him up for a Menners versus Dave situation. I didn't see that at all. Menners, did you get that vibe in the text message I sent you at all?
No, absolutely not. Obviously, I would have gone at him straight away, but it would have been all in good fun. And they had zero faith in you, Cullinan and Kirk. Yeah. Kirk cannot get around this. He's like, on one hand, saying, oh, how good Mick's been doing. And then he thinks you're going to talk about Kane for 70 minutes and network stuff. I mean, it was poor stuff from both of them. And Cullinan's, pissing around, very disappointing.
Yeah, I thought he was out of his jurisdiction, is the good way to put it. He's not the program director of this show. I know he's the producer.
He's fucking scared. He's scared of me. He won't face me on an open environment because he can't hang up the phone or turn pot me down. That's all it was.
All right, well, we're already, we're drawing into it. We don't want to, do Kane and network talk the entire time. So let's get into a crazy week. Obviously, a great week of shows. I think we can all agree on that. Where do you guys even want to start? Do we want to start with Justin's Legos? I mean, there was many Justin bits this week. I know, Menners, you hate those, but we got to get to Justin. It was the week of Justin. Let's start with the Legos. Jeff Lowe, where are you at with everything?
Kirk said my kind of point on the show. I do find he picked Kathleen Kennedy as his number one most hated human being on earth, and he is funneling money into Disney Star Wars. 90% of his sets are sets from movies that have come out since like 2014. So I think that's like perfect Justin, but I'm not, that like didn't shock me.
I mean, that's Jeff. That's a dumb thing to say. I mean, the Legos and the movies are totally different. I mean, what's the correlation between Kathleen Kennedy producing shit TV shows and shit movies and him buying Lego? I mean, there's no correlation there.
Represents something you don't like?
It's just dumb.
But no, answer my question. Would you buy something that represents something you don't like?
Yeah, I would. If I liked the toy or the Lego, I would.
I think that's weird. I think that's really
and with no premise right there. I mean,
that's a bit. That's a bit. I think that's just a bit. That's weird. That's weird to buy something of something that you actively hate. He hates her. He wishes like death upon her, and that's her product.
Yeah. I think we could all agree we've had a Lego phase maybe at some point in our lives. At least I did. I grew out of that at about age 8 or 9. I think was the last time maybe even before that, just off the top of my head, probably 5. Like I don't remember really playing with Legos. I remember just playing
Lego
with
collecting is huge right now. It is massive though.
For adults though, Jeff?
What, me?
For like adult, like do a lot of adults Legos?
Yeah. I had kind of heard about it, but
Brando, are you a Lego guy?
I'm not a Lego guy personally, but I've definitely heard of people like in their 20s and 30s collecting them. It has been like a thing lately.
In the clinic you're in, do they just leave Lego out for you to play with and all your mates just put it together? Or because it's obviously a good time waster.
No, I'm not allowed because sometimes
choking hazard.
It's a choking hazard, yeah. So no Legos anymore.
I guess, should we be concerned with the amount of Lego? I mean, he had Legos by the pound separated by the color and whatnot. Like that to me is like almost a hoarding situation. Like it's unhealthy to have that much. Like I get the Millennium Falcon. I get putting that on the mantle. but I don't know if we need boxes of maroon Legos in the garage. It's almost scary to see. The video he made was very uncomfortable, is the way I would put it.
I wasn't scared by another man's Lego.
He also has real estate. He has enough real estate for 2 houses full of Lego too, technically too. That's the other thing. Like, is there more in the other house that he, I guess, splits his life in?
At some point, Bubba or his father, they got to put the foot down. Like, if I had this much stuff at the house or something like that, my parents would get it out of here. What are you doing? And now he's getting in his grandfather's house. We don't know what's going on, but it was the week of Justin. I can't criticize him too much because he had fun with the bits, and he also got emotional at points. Menards, you're usually critical of the Justin bits. Where are you at with these this week?
Oh, well, look, he had a great week. I'm not a show hater. I do get
you are, but
come on.
I do get the formula behind the Justin bits now, and look, they've got to pull on some chain. 2 things that struck me: I felt really sorry for Justin when he was crying about his grandparents. Like that was really tough. Like Kirk is so cruel to just yank on that for so long. But the other thing is, I don't think Trudell's grandparents know who he is. He said Bubba just calls him his cousin's name, and the grandmother calls him Big Guy. So, these 2 people that Justin looks up to more than anybody, I don't think know him, like can tell him apart from their other grandchildren.
It's a fair assumption. My grandmother called me Mooch at some point when I was a kid, but she always knew who she was talking to. But old people, they get a little confused as they get older. You know that, Menards, better than anyone.
Yeah. She'd definitely call you that now if she knew what you were doing.
Oh, here we go. She's in the ground now. So thanks, appreciate it.
Wow.
Jeff, where are you at with Justin bits? Did anyone stick out to you? Did you feel sad?
The one yesterday?
Okay.
Yesterday, the magician's hat, that kind of shocked me when they said the year in which, because at first it sounded like, okay, whatever, like he has he sounded so into the Dogman author, which was very funny because he made it sound like he's like this, like Ernest Hemingway. But when Kirk said the year in which that was released, the 2015,
That was great.
But it's a family of bits though. Because he did say too, he said that's the thing. It's like I like the bits. It's a family of bits because it was like, what do you say, a snowy day? And his mom's like, why don't we just go to this book signing? Like that's in it. Like it's bizarre. I love it, but that one shocked me. That was wild that he was at that book signing.
Right, and it was for Malcolm Mitchell, the old Patriots player, who was pretty much relevant, like just kind of irrelevant as the team. Like I don't really remember him too much, and I don't know. The whole book signing and that whole thing, it got kind of glossed away from me. I thought the eulogy bit, I don't even want to call it a bit because it turned into like an emotional breakdown, but it was justified because I think it's a real thing. If you start talking about someone in your family dying, if you start talking about sad stuff, I'll start crying. If I start picturing people dying, where were you at with that, Brando? What'd you feel about the eulogy?
The eulogy, I mean, it was a little bit shocking. He how defensive he got, and he said, "No, I'm not gonna do a eulogy for him. I don't care. I'm not gonna be able to handle it." And all of a sudden, Kirk is digging into him, and he's just become a just blubbering idiot. I mean, I feel for the guy, but I think there can be some work done with this therapist, and not just talking about who the next kicker of the Patriots is gonna be or something.
No, that's fair.
That moment, him crying though, that felt like a good reasoning for why you should watch the show sometimes instead of listen. Because I actually had it in my pocket listening to that, and I actually stopped. I was in Whole Foods today listening. I actually stopped and pulled it up on my YouTube because I didn't know if it was real. I was like, hold on a second. Like, is this like an actual thing that's happening? Which I'm still, I guess this leans into the bits thing. I still don't fully know if that was real or not. It seemed like it, but I was like, I need to confirm visually that he's actually crying right now.
Well, he was smiling through it at bits, like he was coming in and out of it, but it is actually quite a skill to be able to like cry on cue. So some of it must have been real. Like I don't think Justin would be that skillful to just make up fake tears.
Some great actors.
No, it definitely wasn't. It definitely was not fake. No way.
Yep. When I want to cry, I just think about Kane dying or something, and it makes me very emotional.
Well, we'll get to Kane. We're 9 minutes.
I know.
You mentioned Kane. Lying to
He's jamming in the Kane talk.
Jesus.
I was just telling you what upsets me.
What shocked me was Justin being like, "Yeah, no, I wouldn't if my dad asked me to read the eulogy, I wouldn't. Like, that's the one thing you just have to say yes to. And I understand it's a very uncomfortable situation. I would not want to get up there and read my grandfather's eulogy. But at the same time, like, if I feel like that's anybody asking you to do a eulogy, it's automatic yes, right? Like that's not like a choice. If somebody tells you like they want you to do a eulogy, that you have to do it. No,
well, I mean that'd be a big promotion for you because you wouldn't be doing the bar and you wouldn't be walking your dog into the service, so you'd absolutely jump at that chance.
Yep. There you go. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think if you're a fully functional adult and you love your grandfather, I think you have to do it. But we're talking about a guy who is stunted emotionally, and they say like when people have trauma, they get stuck in the age when they have trauma. So something happened to Justin when he was like 10 or 12, whether he was molested by Bubba or I'm not one to speculate, but
not at all.
It is weird. Kirk goes to molestation a lot. Like that is his go-to joke all the time.
Why do you think that is? Well, I'll dig into it. Why do you think it is?
I don't know. I mean, I hope he wasn't molested as a child. I guess it was way more prevalent in institutions at, I guess, our age, the church, school. I mean, a lot of pedophiles would just run unfettered, but he does go to that a lot, like, suggesting that Bubba molested Justin. I mean, come on.
Well, I mean, Justin has a known kind of, a questionable background, excuse me, just to say the least. So let's not pretend like Kirk's not justified here in some aspects.
Is it Bill Trudell is going to, anyway, go on.
Every time it does seem like where Kirk will like make the joke and then he'll back up. Like, it's like, okay, like the joke's been made, move on. Something like the magician's hat comes up or some new Grill on the Hill story, some new monster rat, whatever the fuck it is. It's like, the timing of it, I don't even think the timing is a bit like it's always like something rolls in to keep it going.
All right. You got to give him credit too, because he was rolling with the punches. At some points I feel like, including myself, people have produced that show. It's easy to tap out when you're getting peppered by kind of, questions about your Legos or something like that. It's easy to be like, I'll just shut up and move on. But he was great the entire time. So I think an overall grade for Justin this week with the bits and everything, I'm giving him a straight A+. I thought he was fantastic.
You don't really hear that joke from Kirk. You hear me, obviously the joke what Menor just said. You hear that joke, but you don't hear the joke from Kirk much ever anymore about Justin like quitting the show. Like I think like he's just like you don't ever really hear that like Justin's only got like a week left or like he's just takes it and he's good with rolling with it.
I agree.
It's been a little while for sure. It's definitely been a little while for that.
Let's get into that was obviously on Monday. That was Kevin from Bristol's first appearance on the show in a while. What was Kevin on before Menor's? I'm drawing a blank. I know he's called in a million times, but
that was his first appearance. And when I was third chair booker, I tried to get him in there, but he wouldn't go in until Kirk gave him his blessing. And finally, we turned a corner and Kevin was in there.
What did you think of his performance?
I thought he was very good. He's funny. His games were good. He can roll with the punches. Would have been good if the producers had turned his mic up. Again, levels seem to be a problem for those guys. But yeah, I'd love to see him in there once a month.
Jeff, what do you think of Kevin?
I'll give him room for like a better performance. I'll just say A-. I thought he was great. I really enjoyed him on the mic. Thought he was really good.
Brendo?
I think he did great. A couple really good games. And he stayed out of the way. He wasn't going in all wacky, Kevin from Bristol bits with the impressions, the different stuff, like EEI type stuff. He just came in, he stayed in his lane really well and just contributed when he had to. And I thought he did really well. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, Kevin I think he's great for the KMS world. Obviously, in the past, he's been known to kind of have a big ego and get kind of full of himself and think he's the star of the show. But I thought he was fantastic as a third chair, pitching in comments every now and then, kind of rolled with the conversation, didn't always make it about himself. It was, self-deprecating. He was great in there. I don't want to blow him too much because, I'll get accused of being a fanboy. And you know that about Kirk. Anytime you give somebody credit on the show, it's immediately shot down. God forbid. We're just saying Kevin did a good job. That's all. I'm supportive of him. But moving on, the Cullinan hockey puck story on the same show. This was peak Dave Cullinan here, stealing a hockey puck from a special needs person and then somehow blaming it on the father and saying no. Every hockey puck's communal. What's your take on this, Jeff? Is Dave at fault?
Probably, but I also think there's a little bit of anger from the Dan and Newton situation that's building. I'm not condoning violence. But I think in the behind the scenes VIP like area or whatever it is, whenever this live show happens, I think if Dave beats Dan and Newton up a little bit, I think it beats him up a little bit. Dan Newton, I think it might be good for him. Might be get a little rage out, get a little anger.
Right.
I mean, I think he is Cullinan. I love Cullinan, but he's a big qualifier of like, I'm not a, what does he always say? Like, I'm not a man of hate, or he'll say like I don't, hate's a strong word.
Yeah.
I think he hates Dan and Newton. I think he should just say he fucking hates Dan and Newton. You just got to say it.
Yeah.
I think that's where all the rage, and it leads to like stealing hockey pucks from.
You think it's boiling over into his real life?
Yes.
Is that potentially why he thought he was getting set up here? Is he just on edge at all times? This all go back to Dan and Newton. That's a really good theory, Jeff. I actually think there might be something to that. Brando, where are you at with Cullinan stealing the hockey puck, and is he sensitive about everything right now?
Yeah, I think Jeff nailed it. I think he's sensitive right now. That stuff's got him all worked up. The calls today were all just. There were multiple ones that were related to his supposed homosexual brother. And, Kirk, when he gets just a little bit, he just is going to dig in and dig in and dig in. And you can't really blame him. So Dave's just in a tough spot. So I think it's definitely affecting him.
I did see the allegations that he was, potentially somehow hung up on Sebastian. Man, is anything to that?
I think he definitely hung up on Sebastian, even though they keep denying it. And also, I don't buy this Cullinan stuff where he's like, oh, I couldn't lie in the moment. I was caught unaware. Like, he's been on the show as producer twice before and been fired both times. He's back for a third time. He knows exactly what to expect. He knows you got to be ready for anything. He could have lied if he wanted to, but he just got caught in the moment. He got a bit excited, had a bit of fun with it. Then I think he had regret afterwards, and he's lashing out.
I'm not even sure I would say like sensitive, because like I think he just has Cullinan's a very cool, like he was in a really good mood when I saw him last week. I love seeing Cullinan, but like I think he likes to, especially this current era of Cullinan, he's trying to feel very cool, calm, and collected. And like, I think he's got to let one. I think he's got to let it fly a little bit. I think he's just got to go after him, just crush this guy, just destroy him.
But there's no doubt this little girl who might have been special needs or not was playing with the puck.
Right.
And Dave was just oblivious in his own world, probably tackled her, like took it off her, like, and then goes off playing and then plays, innocent. I mean,
I've played pond hockey many times, growing up here in Massachusetts. That's a very common thing to do here in the wintertime. I would never steal anybody's puck without asking, especially if it wasn't somebody who I knew. And if there is like a group of pucks kind of laying around the pond and everybody's using them, that's fine. The minute you see it's like a Frozen 4 edition puck, you gotta leave that thing alone. You gotta realize like, if that looks different than every other puck, there's probably a reason why. I mean, Dave tried to act like that was just normal and it looked like every other puck. No, this thing was completely different. And it was some poor special needs kid just lost the puck. Ridiculous move by Cullinan, who is a father and knows better. It was crazy.
And I reckon if you do that, you've got to say to the dad, look, if we can't find it, let me know. I'll give you some cash. Here's I don't know how much a puck costs.
Right.
Here's $20. Go buy your daughter a new one.
Yeah, and then he has the audacity to claim that he looked in the basement for like a Ray Bork puck. I mean, there's no chance he did any of that, right?
That's very funny.
He's saying that to save his ass a little bit. Right. I think also there's a chance that this kid isn't even special needs at all, and Dave is just kind of
playing.
No idea what he's talking about.
A little bit on the other father for bringing a commemorative special puck out in a situation like that, though. Well, I will also note that that's a little. I wouldn't do that, but maybe they're attached to the puck. I don't know.
He probably didn't anticipate the
That's true.
There, right? I mean, the guy was going to steal it. But I know what you're saying, Jeff. If it's that special, you got to keep an eye on it. Moving on to Wednesday's show is Montante and Freddy's Birdies. Controversial show for Freddy's Birdies. I think a lot of people are up and down on him. It's very, I guess, hit or miss. I'm a Freddy's Birdies guy. I love the negativity. Bring it on. He's not a regular guest, but he's in there enough where I think it's a funny bit, but it's actually a real thing about himself. Menners, where are you at with Freddy's Birdies?
I like Freddy's Birdies, but he looks like the biggest wanker in the KMS world. Like just this golf club little shit, wearing his polo shirts and his yacht shoes and his, he's a lawyer. And so someone explained it perfectly that, just a little country club boy. And I like him, but he's so far from most of the other Minifans. Like he's just so far up his own ass.
He gets ready like Patrick Bateman in the morning, like no doubt in my mind. Like I could see him with like a hair straightener, like getting like the creases out of the slack before going in. I like him because the negativity feels super like he hates the Big Easy, Ernie Els. His nickname's the Big Easy.
And his
Like,
son too. He wants his son to
hates
his
Ernie.
broadcast. He made that clear, which was great.
So like my thing is this, like, I think somebody's super, I don't love when people are super negative in that chair, but that all feels real. And there's a couple things that he does like that kind of pop out, because there's someone recently who was super negative who I was like, oh, that's weird. Oh, the Played Against Sports guy. Like I like that guy.
Right.
But the second appearance, he was really negative. I was like, that's kind of strange. That's not like I don't think that was the guy that like first debuted, where Freddy's Birdies is just like consistent. And if that's how it is, and I like that.
He plays the part. I mean, there's no like, I feel like he doesn't over exaggerate it like that. Then it would be kind of too much. And I feel like having him in there with a guy like Montante, who can kind of not dominate the conversation, but he can hold his own in there. He'll speak as much as anybody when he's sitting there. So I don't think Freddy's Birdies is the guy that you want kind of going to every time. I don't think he should be in Mike's chair, but he was a great just addition to the show. Kind of pitched every now and then.
Too, though.
He's got that sort of serial killer vibe or psycho vibe. What was that movie? You know this, Jeff, with Julia Roberts, where she had the psycho husband, and if she left the towels not straight, he'd beat the shit out of her. Like, that's how Freddy Birdie seems to me. He comes home, the house is a bit of a mess, and he gets all aggressive.
He watched the Genesis Invitational 5 minutes after his grandparents died. That he said, go back to
in the he's big on the grilled cheese.
Yeah,
he had a great grilled cheese at the hospital as his grandfather's dying or whatever it was. It was a great juxtaposition, just as they said, of you got one guy who's blubbering, can't even like speak a word, sounds like Blind Mike in there with his grandmother, and then you got Freddy's Birdies that's like I had a nice grilled cheese and yeah, that's what it is. He's grown on me. I have to say, at first I didn't really like him, and I think I realized that it's real and he's just a miserable guy. And I think it just plays well, like him and Kirk kind of.
You should get him on the Brando
play off each other with it.
You should get him on the Brando show.
It's must watch right there. I'll sign up for that.
I got Justin just texted me. He said, "I swear on everything I love that the crying was not fake." I believe him.
No, definitely not.
I have to check it though. I couldn't tell.
I think if I did that, I'm not going to do it. But I think if I start thinking about somebody who's dying and people were asking me questions, like I would start to I wouldn't cry on the air, but I would start to get a little emotional, right? Menners, would you? If I started talking about like your family member dying, and be like, I remember that time with them at birthday and crap. Like, yeah, of course you're gonna cry. Who would be a soulless human not to? That was unfair. That was Justin hung in there. You got to give him credit. That was great. Oh God, sorry.
No, say the thing, just to kind of follow Brando said, realizing that people are being real with their, like, I don't want to say character, just like who they are on the show. That's where like I can veer one way or the other, because I'll give the number one example. The number one example, Steve from Gloucester.
Oh boy,
as big of a fraud as there is, and that's why my number one enemy. I know he wants to be friends. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like the phony sense of who you are, and that I'm out every single time. That's why I like this guy. This guy he's an ass, and he's a negative guy, but he's good.
The Portnoy tweet about crypto from Steve was tough. As somebody who is a Steve from Gloucester fan, I like having him in, around, but that was a tough one to see.
Wishing the best in his personal. I do wish him the best in his personal life. Very nice guy. Got my luggage at one time, but in terms of KMS world, out.
Crazy move that was.
Yeah, he's in that little thing at the moment where, Steve is desperate for some more attention. He had his moment in the sun early last year, and he's trying anything to claw it back, but he's just got to actually be happy with the fact that he can come into the show every now and then. Now he's not particularly hated like he used to be. He's just got to be happy with that. And we're seeing a little bit that with Kane now, like things are moving on and he's trying to wave his arms around. But I think Steve's just got to accept that.
Let's talk about Kane.
No. His time is past, and
Mike and the Kane fans,
stop waving his arms.
Well, let's talk about Kane. We'll get over.
Before we move on from the Montante thing, can I say I had no idea how old Montante was until this week, and really? I almost I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know how old anyone really is associated with the show. Like when I found out how old Pat Ford was, my jaw dropped. I thought Montante. I swear to God, I thought Montante was 38 years old. Maybe 38, 40 years old.
Is he 30, low 30s?
He's younger than me. He's younger than me. That's incredible.
I would have put my salary on the fact that I was younger than Montante.
What?
He was in second grade for 9/11.
Is that based off his looks or his personality?
kind of everything.
Well, someone did say he was an old soul, right? Like it's kind of everything. It's like looks, personality, just like how he goes. Like he just feels like he lives like one half a generation older than me, or like close to that. I could not believe that when he said he was in second grade for 9/11. I was shocked. I'm still convinced that he just may be wrong on that. He missed like he's really in like 8th grade. He just doesn't remember.
Yeah,
we're gonna look it up. Charlie Puth's gonna be 42. We're gonna look, how's that?
I guess you know what, that should have been it. That should have been the tip for me, was the Charlie Puth thing. Now that I think about it, damn.
Menners, you mentioned Kane. I know you want to get to it. Let's just talk about it now. No, I think it's a good time. They talked about it on Wednesday show a little bit. So where are we at with our buddy Kane? I think he should be banned. After some of the comments he made about Pat Ford, I thought personally, I thought that he knew that Pat was serious and he tried to make a joke out of a serious situation and then realized that it wasn't a good idea. I know, Brando, you were the one that sent him the text messages. Why did you do that? I guess we'll start there.
Well, first off, I sent him, I've already kind of talked to Pat Ford and cleared everything up with him. My intentions were never to hurt anybody. I sent him the messages to explain to him and say, hey, this is why Pat can't make it, and actually give some legitimacy to this guy has a real issue. And like, yes, I was poking fun a little bit with Kane. I said, like, you'd have to be super crazy to make this up. I was like, he's crazy guy, but he's not. I knew he wasn't making it up. He even said it in his show, like, Brandon took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. I thought that he was being legit. So I was just letting Kane know Pat's not going to be on. I didn't think anything of it. I would never use something in a DM against other people and make anything personal.
Either would I.
I give people the benefit of the doubt, which ends up burning me sometimes.
I think it was just because it was a serious situation. Like, I think that's really and Pat made that clear, and Kane just kind of took it and ran with it. Menners, you can't defend this one, right?
No. So for those catching up, Pat Ford canceled on the Brando show at the last minute, but it was a great episode with Joan and Warren. Go back and watch it. But look, my thing is, it's actually not out of the realm of possibility that Pat would send something like that as like a joke to someone, because he's a sick, twisted fuck. Like he's as sick and depraved as anyone. But as I said to Kane in DMs, and
he wouldn't do that though, Menners. He wouldn't use his own kid as like a bait. He wouldn't do that.
He might, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to go with that, if you're Kane, you have to be 100% sure. You can't just use a couple of tweets like, oh, Pat was on Twitter at the same time, because I don't know if Kane's brain was working that night, because I'm sure when you're in a hospital waiting room, you can still like be on Twitter. Like, what are you going to do there for hours while they're treating your child? So I just think if you're going to break a story like that, you got to be 100% sure. And Kane won't admit it, but things just got on top of him. He was riding high after his last studio appearance. Then Kirk broke him, not me. Kirk broke him by saying he got him sick, and he just hasn't been able to recover since then. It's like he's shattered for some reason.
Well,
no, go ahead.
And that night too, during his show, he was getting a lot of comments in there talking about cocaine, kind of some of the usual stuff he gets of people ragging on him. And he seemed like he was in a bad mood by the end. So I think he said, you know what? I'm going to use this thing, and I'm going to either attack somebody else or I'm going to do this for clout. And to be completely transparent, I believe in the First Amendment, so I think he's allowed to say whatever he wants, no matter what. But there are consequences for your actions. If Pat Ford wants to punch him in the face when he sees him, then he can do that. But I don't know.
I mean, Brando, you shared a private message. I mean, you are almost as to blame as Kane is. Like, that was sent to you in confidence by Pat Ford, and you gave it to one of Pat Ford's mortal enemies. And now
coming from you, it's rich.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Coming from you that uses anything for attention or clout, it's very rich, Menners. Yes, I made a mistake, and me and Pat cleared it up. I did make a mistake.
Right.
I'll take a small part of the blame.
Nick,
but
should I ban Brandon for a week? Should I ban Brandon for a week?
No, but I wasn't going to have him on unless he made up with Pat Ford, and he said him and Pat were good, and I said, all right, that's enough. I thought that was fine. Menners, the real thing is you're defending Kane. You want him to be around here, but all the guy does is crash out and lose his mind. He's got explicit DMs that have been leaked. I don't know how you can defend this guy over and over again. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, the Minifan Network's a free and open platform. There's no suspensions. He had a tough week. I told him. I think that going on.
You're the guy who said that Wagon can't come on, right? You're the same guy who says Wagon shouldn't appear on the network because he's done.
Wagon physically assaulted Mina ladies at a live event. If you want to defend him, Mick, go for it.
I'm not defending him.
No, the platform's yours. Go for it. No, defend him. Go for it.
I will. Shut up. Hey, this is what I'll tell you. You said that the Minifan Network has an open platform. Then everybody should be allowed on, right? Including the people that assault.
I think there's a line at sexual assault. I mean, I think we can.
So which is it an open platform, or is there a line on everything? It can't be one or the other.
Yes, there can be. You can have like a line you can't cross.
I hate you. I really do. You make me so mad.
No. Mick wants people that sexually assault Mina ladies on this network.
Yes, correct.
Fantastic. Good defense. Good defense.
Jeff, where are you at with Kane? Do you want him around here? Do you think he's crazy? Give me something on him.
I don't like Kane and I've had our like back and forth. I called in once, one at him, but like I've like no problem with Kane lately. And I think I said on the show or somewhere I said he was good. Might have been on Fireside Chat. I thought his last appearance was very good, but I also think he was kind of given a gift with like the whole getting Kirk sick thing. I know obviously that's in that role of being the one that everyone's like, you got him sick. Like, I'm sure, I guess that would suck for him, but he's also kind of like the center of the world in that moment, and him rolling with that would have been pretty funny. Mm-hmm. And I wish he would have just kind of rolled, because I do think that would have been super beneficial to his kind of status as like, a third chair in the world. Like, yeah, him getting blocked for what, like a month, and him getting banned for a little bit because he got him sick. But then he took it way too seriously.
I think it's the MA gambling girl stuff has got to maybe more than we think.
Why you say that?
Those following on at home, MA gambling girl who is probably sneakers or fairs. Allegedly, Kane hit onto her in DMs or him, but he can't remember, which I can't work that out. Like, how fucked are you on drugs and alcohol? Like, you can't remember sending like 20 messages to a woman saying, can we go to a hotel together?
Listen,
but in saying that, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm yet to see a message from her saying, hey, Kane, look, I'm kind of uncomfortable with this. I'm not interested. Let's just say, back off. I haven't seen a message like that.
I'm not sure if that's a defense, but
they're gonna get worse though. Listen, they're gonna get worse. I guarantee you, there's worse ones out there. And if they haven't been sent, they will be sent. And my thing with Kane is this. I said this 2 weeks ago on the show. Montante laughed at me. I said, is he good for the world? Should he be allowed to, have these coked out benders going screaming about people and doing these rambling rants for an hour about nothing? I personally think it's a funny thing to watch, but I don't know if it's a good thing. And you're the one enabling him. That's why I'm asking, like, if he's saying all this stuff and he's having these crash outs, why are we allowing it?
I'm not banning him. I suggested to him take a week off. He's taking a mental health leave. I told him I was disappointed he went on for 18 minutes the other night. He was clearly like, didn't have anything to say, was in a bad mood, was just waving his arms around. And I know Kane can do better. Like, Kane is going to come back stronger and better than ever. Like, this is just a momentary stumble. You can't keep a good man down. He's going to be back better than ever. Don't you worry. Mick, you've like lit yourself on fire like 100 times since Kane has started, and look at you. You're back better than ever.
Okay, there is a huge difference.
Okay.
I'll tell you this right.
Not a huge difference, actually.
No. There's times where I've taken myself too serious. Absolutely. But I do not think that I am some, immaculate talent like Kane does hidden underneath. Like,
you literally put a tweet out saying celebrating 5 years of BAP this week.
Oh God, why are you doing this? Come on, we're having.
You just said you don't take yourself seriously.
People laughed at it.
That's a happy thing, though. That's a nice.
Yeah, but
thing.
You were like, I couldn't believe where we started and where we are and all these opportunities. Like, come on.
Well, Menners, I'll be honest with you. If you told me 5 years ago that I would be on the Kirk Minifans show, I would have told you that's crazy. So I am
take yourself as seriously as Kane.
Fuck off.
Imagine how Kane feels. He goes from working in a kitchen to being on one of the greatest podcasts in the world. I mean, it has been a stellar rise.
He's there to get laughed at, and I think that bothers him. Like, I you know what I mean? You don't see the correlation, what I'm saying?
Well, you'd know all about that.
Okay, you're in a bad mood. What's wrong with you?
I'm not in a bad mood. People aren't laughing at you all the time?
Of course they are, but I'm aware of that.
So don't throw stones if you live in glass houses.
I think I think Mick rolls with the punches a little bit better than Kane does. I know he has his moments. Mick
when he hasn't taken the job, when he's refused his dream job, when he won't work with.
That's all his decision. That's up to him.
Manners, don't be a cunt. Like, come on.
We're not saying he's not a crazy person, but I think Kane burned like super hot, and then all this has come crumbling down. I feel for the guy in some ways, but it's been a tough week.
Can we just move on? Because if someone has fallen further than Kane, cinema. I don't know if he's on your list.
Oh, wow.
While we're talking about that is unbelievable that he would ask Kirk to put mud on the network. Unbelievable.
I like cinema. That is a surprising move. That is a very, is that like the most known thing on the show world right now that Muck can't be on the show?
I
like cinema. That was surprising.
Yeah, it was a bad question, but come on, we're going to get down on him for that, Manners? Do you think that's the giant downfall of cinema? I thought he was great on the show on Thursday.
It's again, good appearance. He's fine on the show, and Kirk said the same thing, but Kirk was flabbergasted by the request. We all know the rules at the moment with Mutt. Cinema thinks he's special because he's Minifan of the Year, hosting what else, and he gets an exception to have Mutt on his show.
I do. I think it's a bonkers request. I don't think it's because he thinks he's special. I think it's just one of those like, oh damn, like cinema, like oh fuck, like he thought on the show that Josh Hartnett's character was the traitor in Oppenheimer. I almost crashed my car when I heard that. I could not believe that. So I do believe that he didn't process in his head what he was asking.
It's not lights, camera, Barstool. Anyway, go on.
I'm just telling. He said it on the show. Did he say it on KMS? He said Josh Hartnett was the traitor in Oppenheimer on KMS.
Yeah,
I think if a movie guy thinks
how many people watching Mike and the
Minifans
Minifans sat through a 3-hour movie like that? Probably like 4%.
That was a great movie.
$1 billion movie? What are we?
That's not a fair point, man. Oppenheimer was pretty popular.
Yeah, it was. I think. I think some people went out to see it.
Anyway, the point is, cinema went way too far. I had an idea of bringing Mutt back on a show, but it not being on the network. But even I wouldn't do that, and I hate Mutt, and so he wouldn't do it. But
he certainly wouldn't do it.
He would not.
Think you can get him on. Think you can get him on the network? Just crazy. I hope they take the award away from him. I'm happy to still hold it. I held it the year before, so it can just carry over.
You didn't hold it the year before.
You were stripped of the title by the Minifans. It was a poor award.
I was not.
You were officially stripped of the title.
That is not true. That is not true.
Yeah, what is this slander?
I'm a three-time Minifan of the year.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's move on. Let's get into some of the drama that happened this week. Yes. Obviously, there was the Kirk and chicken fry stuff, the Kirk and Gia stuff that stemmed from originally Clemmer and Taylor Swift. By the way, one of the funnier show moments in recent history when Kirk realized it was Clemmer who said that, and he started screaming, "Call him!" I was driving and I was laughing out loud during that moment. And when Clemmer got on the phone, he didn't know what the hell was going on. You could tell Kirk was fired up. Just a great segment overall, and kind of the feuds. Menners, where are you at with the Barstool feuds and the ladies with Kirk? This should be good.
I want to ask Jeff something because Jeff will know.
Can you ask a question? You know what I mean?
Look, I just want to, because this is where I'm going. Surely Kirk knows that if Dave hears those comments, he's going to hit the roof again.
He's going to what?
Hit the roof again. Like, he's going to be very unhappy with Kirk saying all that about co-workers hating her and all this stuff.
I don't know. I'm not. I mean,
I
don't know. I don't know
what are you doing?
I think it's like an intent to like rile Dave.
No. I'm not trying to get. I mean, Dave's not going to be watching Mike and the Minifans. I'm just saying, like, that is sticky territory because Dave does not like Kirk shitting on chicken fry. He does not like it at all.
Well, that's he's made that clear.
Right.
Do you think he's justified? I guess. She's the one who kind of brought it up. It sounded like we heard what she had to say. So I understand. Like, he doesn't want. I understand Portnoy's sensitive about everything. That can happen, but. It's Chicken Fry who's bringing up Kirk here. So Kirk's responding to what she said. So I think anything there, it's fair game. And I think Portnoy would even kind of admit that. It's like, if you don't want him to talk about you, don't talk about him. No?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I don't understand why Kirk went so hard at her, but whatever.
What about with Gia? Did you feel like that was a justified reaction with the Taylor Swift drama? The Swifties are serious. Menners, you seem like a Swiftie yourself. Am I wrong?
No, I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not a Swiftie.
Who's the broad you like? Who's the pop star? You're always tweeting about her.
Dua Lipa. I know.
Ariana Grande.
Cullinan's brother is a big Swiftie, I've heard.
Dua Lipa's pretty great. That's a good take.
She's pretty great. I just don't take, like, Gia and Brie come from totally different worlds to Kirk, and they just don't cross over. They all they do is clash because they're like polar opposites. And you're in a tough spot here, Mick, because you and Chicken Fry are very close.
Yeah,
and you're caught in the middle of this crossfire.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's fair. I would say if you're going to bring up somebody in a negative light, you can't really be mad what they say in response. And that's as simple as that. So I would say to her, don't bring up his name if you don't want, the revenge fire. But with the Gia stuff, I think it's a little more playful. I think if she was I don't know if she is, but if she was an active KMS listener, I think she would realize it's just kind of the bit.
She was playful with the basketball thing with him too. Right. I mean, that's
right. Like, I don't think she's necessarily like an enemy, but I think when she gets a couple of tweets from Minifans, she's probably like, what the fuck's going on? Like,
It is funny when it's Clemmer fueled though. That's what cracked. The fact that it's like all kind of comes back to there's going to be a moment with Clemmer very soon where I assume there's going to have to be an official ask with the intent of getting an official yes or no on Kirk doing a rat race. And I'm very excited to see which side of the fence it lands on, because I don't know if that's an odd. The wheels will be spinning in his head, like what comes out of saying yes and what comes out of saying no, because either or it's gonna be a great outcome. And I don't know if he's gonna say yes to it or not, but it's coming soon for sure.
He'll do it.
If you could get maybe a Boston one, maybe get Portnoy involved and some of the other people that he does some content with, maybe that'd be good. I actually, I'm not going to lie, I didn't check out the rat race. I didn't watch it this time. I've seen previous ones, but Montante, very critical. I know he was hammering Clemmer on the show, which I had to point out. Montante, very critical of a couple things and scared of movie trailers, by the way. Jeff, what do you think of that?
Bizarre comment.
Ridiculous, right? Have you ever watched a movie theater and been like, oh, I can't watch the trailer? Like, I feel like they're not putting rated R trailers for like G-rated movies. Like, you kind of know what you're expecting.
I don't make a movie comment. I got yelled at 2 minutes ago.
No.
That was crazy though. I'm everything this week with Montante just takes a backseat to the fact that I thought he was 38 years old. He did it. That restaurant he ate at in Connecticut was 100 yards from my childhood hometown. My childhood home. I was shocked. I could not believe he ate there. But no,
I mean, Montante's only like low 30s. He's not that much different.
He's 31, I think.
Yeah,
but he's older than me. I thought he was at least. I'll drop it. I can't keep talking about this. Stunning news.
Speaking of gambling, Jeff, you had a big hit this week.
I did.
Well, what was the parlay? Take your flowers.
It was Worthy, Hopkins, Brown, and Devontae Smith. Yeah, that was great. It saved a boring game. Oh,
yeah.
Boring Super Bowl.
Is that the biggest hit you've ever had?
It was not. No. I've hit a future bigger than that. But that was I haven't been able to put one out there via DraftKings, our lovely sponsor. So that was nice.
Congratulations.
Sure, lose it all some other way, but yeah, that was
first Australian to ever start and finish on a winning Super Bowl team.
The only Australian?
Yeah, the only Australian to start, and I think there's been a few kickers that have won it, but Jordan Melita, I think his name was playing for the Eagles.
Oh yeah, Mylota. Yeah, they're offensive linemen. Okay, I didn't know that.
He's an Aussie.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats, man.
Big for the nation.
I'll accept that on behalf of Australia.
Okay, good.
Can I just say, Jeff, you really fucked up last Friday night. This time last Friday night, you should have worked that car park out better. You need a better strategy.
I had
to leave early or you leave later. Leaving at the full-time whistle.
There was a
rookie error.
Moment. I assume you didn't watch the game, Menor. There's a crucial moment in that game where they were. I'm just assuming if you were, you'd be the only person in that country watching it. The game was kind of moving the wrong direction, and they had 2 buckets to 2 straight possessions that cut it just enough for us to stay, and that fucked us. That completely fucked us. Yeah, and now I know. I hadn't been to a game there in forever. I never parked in the season ticket holder garage. Huge mistake. Very funny, hilarious in the moment. But it was
actually like a 90-minute wait. Was this exaggerated? Because sometimes in the moment it feels like it's longer. Was it actually an hour and a half, 2 hours?
It was very long. I don't know what the final time on it was. And I'll tell you what, that route that Mutt had us go after that was unbelievable. That was like being a fucking Six Flags. That car was going. It was up and down.
Back roads.
It was, and it saved us 90 seconds.
Yeah.
He's like, I know a way. It's where he goes to avoid. It's to avoid all the cops. It's the back roads. He always has to drive that way.
Avoid the breathalyzers. But how was Kirk holding up in that situation? Did he go very quiet? Was he clenching? How angry was he?
He was pretty cool and calm. I don't think he's told this part of the story yet. So we're like parked here. The down slope of the garage is there, and there's a minivan right here. And this minivan thought that one honk was going to solve the problem. And that minivan honked, and it's like this close to Kirk's car. That minivan honked 15 times. And I do think one of the final few honks, he almost snapped. He was like, it was the point where like, I don't know what this guy thinks is going to happen. And that guy actually bailed out and he took an alternate route. And I hope that guy got stuck for an extra hour because it was just a fucking lunatic. That was the one part I was like, oh, this could get ugly. Mon and I got out with me. He said we walked around a little bit. We had to check it out. And there was almost a full-on fight. It would have been saved. There was a moment where Muck got out to walk, and there was two guys, and I tweeted, they're in each other's face. And Kirksey's like, I hope Muck gets punched in the face. If Muck would have gotten like a straight punch in the face, that would have been pretty funny.
But and what about your lovely fiance? How disgusted by Mutt was she, and how impressed?
No, she said the second we got back, she's like, he wasn't anywhere near as bad as you guys say he was. He was really nice.
So you prepped her a little bit. You're like, hey, we're going with Mutt.
It is funny because like he gets like the description comes from this world where that's not like we didn't hang out with KMS Mutt. Not that much changes who he is, but like, that's like Kirk. But it is like they had a couple back and forth in the car that were pretty funny. But I actually didn't really even explain him to her because I'm like, what am I gonna start saying? Like I'm gonna start saying like him being banned from the show. Like that's not like like Mutt's a really normal, nice guy. It's like
I think normal's nice for sure.
Yeah, it's okay.
He does the show with the bomber in Connecticut. It's a great, you can't miss it. Imagine explaining that to your significant other. Not easy.
And with the wedding invites, Jeff, are you going to like how many people from KMS are going to be at your wedding? So Kirk's one. Who else?
I think it's one. I think that's it.
That's it. No,
I'll give him. He gets
no blind Mike.
I'll give him a +2. He can bring
Justin and Blind Mike.
If he wants. Yeah.
I think you should have a Minifan table.
Oh my god.
Close. I'll make the closest person if I get anybody. Probably Justin.
Okay, Justin. All right.
Speaking of Mayo, I need to clear a little something up because did you see the message he sent you, Jeff, about you guys stopping in Putnam on your way back?
You know what? I'm glad you reminded me. I forget when
he says, "Go." You can read it if you want. I guess what he sent you. I have it up though too.
You guys coming? Okay, he said, yeah. He just said you guys. So Friday at 2:47, he said you guys are, I guess 6 p.m. local time there. So we were in the car. He said, you guys coming to Putnam later or no? Brando asked me to ask. I did not reply to that DM. There was no response.
He's literally full of shit, and he didn't want to look like a weirdo.
I didn't believe him. Don't worry.
He blamed it on Brando.
I didn't believe him.
That's even a weird move by Andy Mayo. That's a strange move by your guy Mayo, Manners. Come on, got to get him in line there.
Yeah, he's terrible on Twitter. Just absolutely brutal.
He's pretty bad. He's bad in real life too.
I do love it though.
What do we make of?
He's pretty bad. He's pretty bad in real life too. Like he's genuinely annoying.
He's a terrible person. He tells me to kill myself for the week.
That's his joke. That's his literal like
knee slapper. Like what are we talking about? This guy stinks.
He says it all the time. He said like I'll kill you one time to me, and I was like, what? He's like I'll kill you. I'm like,
he's
an odd guy.
Of Joan and Warren being too cool for the show. This was commentary that I wanted to touch on here. Menners, do you buy into that? Is John, is he not cool enough to be, or is he too cool to be the third chair and the weird guy in the room? Does he think he's too much here?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh. He's been enabled. Too many people have been blowing smoke up the drips in the office assholes for too long.
You said he was great earlier.
Who?
You said John was great.
He was great on the Brando show. He was fantastic. In fact, he suited to the Brando show. He and Brandon have a real rapport.
That is. Go ahead.
But no, I really like John. I don't think it was a too good for the show thing. He said on the Brando show that, they scheduled a meeting for him at work, which meant he couldn't go into the show. So I just think he's poorly organized. He's the star of those two. He drags Pat Ford along.
Wow.
Why do you say that? You hate Pat though. Like,
yeah.
Like
he's a Kane guy. So
tell me how. Does he actually?
I hate to say this, and you can quote me on this. John is kind of like, he's genuinely funny. Like he tries to be funny. A lot of his jokes land. They're dad jokes kind of, but they work. Whereas Pat Ford's just miserable. Like he's just a miserable guy.
Oh, I've played golf with
the one thing I don't like about Pat is the kissing videos.
Those are the best part. Those are the best part.
I think I'm out on that.
Brando, who would you like to kiss, and which guy would you like to kiss? If Pat Ford made a video, which one would you like to see?
I guess just maybe me and Pat Ford do it maybe real life to make up for everything. Maybe.
All right. Wow. Okay.
There you go.
I'm an ally.
Oh boy. A couple other things. Oh, go ahead.
But it is annoying that all these third chairs keep canceling at the last minute. Like, if you're working from home, like, and you're Johnny Warren, you've just got to put on your calendar, like, block the time off, and that's it. And if someone puts a meeting on, you say, no, I can't do it. Sorry. Like, KMS is more important. That's it.
Do you think there needs to be some sort of policy in place where if you last minute cancel, maybe a 2-week ban, 3-week ban, is that something that should be considered?
Well, Cullinan is petrified when people get banned because he's got such a short bench.
Got a low bench.
I think you get this sort of, you need a sort of temporary cooling off period to show appropriate respect to the position and the invitation. Like, this is not come and meet me at a bar for a drink and then, hey, I'm going to cancel an hour before. This is to go on the Kirk Minahan show. Like, show some respect. Don't commit unless you can do it, and do everything in your power to be there.
I agree with that. As somebody that is committed to the show, not going to back out last minute. Yeah, I'll leave every now and then when I have my temper tantrums, but for the most part, I'm committed to the show. Something I've noted today, another Milton's trip without Mick being asked to go.
Man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think Montante's gone, Gus is gone, Coleman, Menners, you've probably gone at this point. I mean, everybody, you know what I mean? What's it going to take for me to get in there? Holy
taking the job that you were offered, and maybe
I guess that's fair.
I think
that would have been a guarantee. That's true.
I think the one they went to doesn't have the kids section mix, so that's probably why they didn't want to take you. But if anyone needs free clothes, it's Mick. After unemployed,
unemployed,
not taking his job.
All right. Well, I'll run with that. I want to give a network shout out to Confused Duck, a new father, by the way. I had that in the notes here. Yeah, and always, I don't know if his programs are appearing on this network or the main show, but he's a network contributor. Always love him. Let me see. Anything else? Manners, you got any other notes before we head out of here?
Nope, that was pretty much all I've got. That's all I've got.
All right. Brando, anything we can expect from you? You're scheduled to go in there end of February at some point, right?
The 27th, so 2 weeks from yesterday, as long as Kirk doesn't change his mind between now and then. I could say something stupid on my show, or he could be in a bad mood one day and say, I don't want to see that retarded guy in here. So you never know, but I should be in there the 27th, and then I'll be in Laconia for my first ever live show. So I'm excited for the next couple weeks. Yeah.
So Jeff, are you going to ask Kirk to write the script for officiating your wedding, or are you going to write the script and give it to him? What's the plan? Because you know about the Adam Minahan debacle.
I know. I'm not. People have said that to me enough. As like I'm not worried about that. We're strong, but I don't know. It's gonna be like I'm sure there'll be like a discussion, but I kind of just trust him in that space. I think it's like. Maybe I've been to like the wrong weddings, but I've been to like a couple where that position's been brutal to listen to. And I think like that stinks. So that's a very important part of the production, at least in my eyes.
Montante was making the argument that the best man was more important, had a crucial role than the officiator. And
I guess it depends on the type of ceremony you have, right? Because like I went to one 2 years ago. It was a great wedding. They did a really good job, but they made like the dances were like 30-second snippets of the song. The speeches were like really quick, like shotgun speeches. So I guess it just depends on how you plan it and set it up.
Mm-hmm. Who is the best man?
My buddy Landon's my best man.
Landon,
good buddy of mine. Yeah. I don't think there'll be any. I don't think there'll be any Barstool people in my wedding party. There's one potential person who'd be in it. I think if I did it.
Okay.
But I don't think the numbers are going to
How
shake
many
out.
people from the company you think will be there?
At my they'll probably send out like top of my head 20, 25 invites, I'm sure.
Wow.
Do you have to invite? I don't know. I'm asking this. Do you have to invite the boss to your wedding? Like at a company?
He will get an invite. I doubt he will go, but he will get an invite.
Right.
That's just smart. But so you're going to vet like Kirk, you're going to vet his jokes because, you know, there's going to be some cynical, like, you're going to just make sure, like, are you going to give him a brief, like, of the tone you want? Like,
I'm sure. Yeah, that will be discussed, but I'm not like, I wouldn't make that ask if I didn't, if I wanted to censor it, you know, like I would, you know, I'm not concerned about that.
You trust him. You trust him and where he's going to go with it.
Yeah.
Do you need a bartender? I know a guy that could bartend for you.
There you go, Brandon.
Or do you have a dog you need walked in?
Dog you need walked down here? The dogging is so disrespectful. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so should I be more mad about that? I actually watched the Super Bowl at Casey's house with Laney next to me and was laughing about it in my head. It wasn't the time to bring it up because it was it was actually his significant other's birthday. It was his fiance's birthday, the same night as the Super Bowl. So I wasn't bitching about anything in the wedding that day. That being said, me and Case are going to have some sort of conversation here because I don't even know if he's completely aware about what's happening. He's just, he's going to say yes no matter what to her at this point during the wedding. What do I say to him, Jeff? Do I say, hey, man, is there any other option? Do I try to make a joke out of it? Do I go serious? What do I say here?
If you didn't exist in this world with this show and tell the story, I think you should be at a point where you're like, I am not doing this is, but now that you've told it, you not only have to do it, we have to see photos. Like now it has to happen. Yeah. You have to roll with it. But if like take all the show out, all this shit, I would be so offended by that. That's an unbelievable thing to be asked to do. I think maybe I'm over exaggerating, but I think that's crazy.
So like the other groomsmen aren't like these like studs and like these great people or anything like that. Like they're good people. It's nothing to them, but nobody's like amazing in this wedding. So I think it was a personality thing. And I think more than anything, she wanted the dog in the wedding and she knew that I would be the person to say yes. I think that's what it is. That's
did she know you'd say yes out of like you're a kind person and like you're gonna do whatever for like their wedding, or that like she views as a pushover? I think I'm probably the closest with her out of all the groomsmen. You know, and that's less. Then I changed my stance a little bit on that.
Yeah, roll with it. I think you just roll with it. Have fun now.
Yeah. Hey Jeff, what did you think of the Team Minifans' initial dozen appearance? Obviously, a stinging loss to KFC. What do you think about Kirk's new team?
They played a team with someone who is Kelly's very good. She's always going to put up like 7 or 8 points. And if her teammates, that was her problem last year. Her teammates just at least the end of the year consistently didn't show up for her. Rico and I would say Rico more so than Kevin. Kevin scored like 3 points. Rico hit a couple things, and they had a monster steal of a flubbed question. I would lean, I don't want to say full fluke because I do think that team, if they support Kelly, they're going to be good. But in terms of Kirk's side of things, that was pretty fluky. Robbie Fox is the second best person in dozen history at food questions. He hadn't missed in season 3. He missed in the first match. So I think it was just between that. They lost the bonus round, the double. I almost like, I had somebody DM me. They're like, you heard Kirk say Vice and you're biased and you want him to change. I said, I actually legitimately didn't hear him say it because it was so like loud at that point. But I was shocked when he missed that. I was just stunned. But I think it's a fluke. I think it's like kind of perfect for them though. It's like to get off to that kind of start. And Clemmer is angry, shaking his head. So, but I think they'll be fine. They'll be good.
I think this is Kirk's best team so far.
Absolutely. He's never played with anybody who's average. The highest score he's ever played with is Hank.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, Freddie, you didn't even say anything else from that. Yeah.
Freddie Lynn's just sent me a message. Do you have another 20 minutes to talk about surviving Barstool or?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He had to do it. He had to do it.
You know what I mean? This guy claims
the timestamp thing was that you have to admit that was a shot.
It's a tight ship over there. You know, he's A&B. He's not fucking around. Yeah. It's kind of what I like.
You're Mr. Podcast. Mr.
No cheers talk.
Putting the timestamps in the title was that. I mean, that was a mean move from you. Like, that was an asshole move.
Yeah, that was diabolical.
Yeah, I loved it in this week's show. So you've got Clemmer and Mike and Freddy and
Why are you
Clemmer,
doing? What do you do?
No, Clemmer brings something up that's further down Freddy's script, and his brain like kind of, fucking exploding. Like, how am I going to fucking OCD? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Before he realized I'm just going to talk about it now. But just in that moment when they went out of order and the script was all messed up, just seeing Freddy's reaction was priceless.
A little malfunction there for Freddie Lynn. Yeah. I support the Fireside Chat. Great program on the network. Yeah. You can't lie there. Anybody else got anything here before we wrap it up? We're hitting the hour mark, so it's kind of like we'll to stay under. Menners, anything before we go?
Nope. Didn't you have some media needed putting up? John was saying.
We talked about I don't know if we jumped into it, but I talked about beforehand with John about the Mike and the Minifans poster. Did you see that thing? Look at this. This is an abomination. This is terrible.
Oh my God, that hurts.
Who did this or drew this or is any? I think Julie said it was good. I forget what happened. Whatever.
Whenever you can make whenever someone has to turn to read something, you always got to do that.
It's just a catastrophe. But yeah, no.
Wait. Sorry, can you put it back up 1 second? Find us on those platforms is crazy because it doesn't tell you what it's called on those platforms.
What to look up or anything. It's just
just find us there. Like use good. Yeah,
we'll be there. Look around for a while.
Some member of the restaurant staff clearly is involved in the social media. So who do we think this is? Some servers? Like, on the side, he's got some Adobe open. Like, I'll make this little like, what is going on here?
Let me go bright red in the background.
This is great though. This has to be hanging on the wall behind the desk.
Part of me hate it, but now I think it must stay. Like now I think it's perfect.
There's gonna be five. There's gonna be 5 different bullet holes in that thing by the end of the night.
Jeff, you were in studio last week with Carabas. How bad is the studio looking at the moment?
I will say the hole in the wall to Kirk's left was shockingly large. I hadn't been there since the Portland show when I was in there with Mayo, and it was in rough shape. Everything else is pretty clean, though. I will say everything else in studios. There's only one like leftover garment, and it's kind of it's Coleman's Quidditch robe, his whatever Gryffindor robe. Otherwise, the studio is pretty clean. It's just like that area is just like his anger zone. Everything else is like in pretty good shape.
Yes.
Do you think that's been vacuumed or cleaned any time in the last like 18 months?
Maybe I'm just too much of a Cullinan stan where I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Like I actually do. Like actually, it was clean because I wasn't. Yeah, because when I was last there, it was Coleman. It was the Coleman era, which I like Coleman, but Coleman, Coleman's kind of a lazier younger guy. Where I think Cullinan's kind of more kept up. The place seemed cleaner.
If you think Cullinan's cleaning that pace, you are crazy.
I may be wrong. I'm just might be biased.
You Justin does at least a vacuum once every other week or something like that. Where we caught him was the disinfecting the microphones. He wasn't doing that. Now he is, which is fair. But that was never happening. That should happen. You got so many people in there. You got so many disgusting mutants in there, like myself, Steve from Gloucester. You got to clean those microphones.
Well, I'll tell you how you do that. You get the sprays, like the disinfectant sprays. Like I don't know what your brands are in the States, but that's how you disinfect. You spray it all, and then it disinfects the mics.
But I think you might even need like a wipe. You know what I mean? Like a full wipe.
How can you wipe a foam microphone head? Or water on a microphone, but you get those sprays. I don't know what, and they just disinfect everything in the air. Anyway, enough.
All right, we're in the microphone talk. So,
Nichols worth the free advice. Don't forget, go back on the network. There are lots of great shows this week. Clamor and Blind Mike on Fireside, Brando and Joan and Warren, all sorts of stuff. Avoid Hot or Not under any circumstances.
That's not true. That's a great program.
Avoid it under any circumstances. But apart from that, watch whatever you want.
All right. Folks, we will catch you next Friday, 8 p.m. Jeff, thanks for filling in last minute. Brando, we will talk to you soon. Menners, as always, take it easy.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Jeff's very busy.
That's it. That's it? Yeah, that's the melody to Funky Town. Won't you take me down to Funky Town?
Another tough day at work today. Steve and Kirk think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show.